Hello, everyone, and welcome. Titan Hub is so excited to have you here for the 2026 to 2027 CADAA and FAFSA workshop. We know how important financial aid is, and our team is here to guide and support you through the application process. By the end of today's workshop, our goal is for you to feel confident, prepared, and ready to successfully submit your application. Let's kick things off with a quick overview of what we'll cover today. We'll talk about why applying is so important. We'll show you how to apply and walk you step by step through the FAFSA and CADAA applications. And we'll go over some important details you'll want to know. Before we go any further, let's review some key terms and acronyms you'll hear throughout this presentation. The first one is CADAA, which stands for California Dream Act application. This is for students who aren't eligible for FAFSA but may qualify for state aid. Next is FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is a main form for federal and state aid. Next is COA. This stands for Cost of Attendance. This is basically all the costs of going to school, like tuition, books, housing, and transportation, and it's used to budget out your financial aid. Next is SAI, which stands for Student Aid Index. This helps schools determine how much aid you qualify for. And lastly is FWS, which stands for Federal Work Study. This lets students earn money through part-time jobs. I want to also take the time to introduce our department, Titan Hub. The Titan Hub is a centralized student service center that connects students with a group of friendly and supportive staff to assist with your questions. We're here to assist you with questions on admissions, financial aid, registrar, scholarships, student business services, and dean of students. So why is applying for financial aid so important? You can think of the CADAA and the FAFSA as your golden ticket. If there's no application, then schools are not able to offer you any financial aid. So the very first step is to apply. Second, you'll submit any requested documents. And lastly, you'll get your financial aid based on your eligibility. We'll start with when you need to apply for the FAFSA and the CADAA. When it comes to applying for financial aid, deadlines do matter and they can determine your eligibility. A Priority 1 student is a student who submits their CADAA or FAFSA by March 2nd. This group gets the strongest consideration for grants, scholarships, and other limited funds. You will also need to submit any requested documents by the priority deadline, which will be announced later. Now, a Priority 2 student is someone who submits their FAFSA or CADAA after the March 2nd deadline. You can still apply, but funding may be more limited at that time. So please remember, if you would like to maximize your financial aid opportunities, you want to be a Priority 1 student. Now that you know when to apply, the next step is knowing which application to submit. If you are a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen and have a valid Social Security number, you'll complete the FAFSA. Now, if you live in California and meet the AB 540 eligibility requirements, have a U visa or TPS status, you'll complete the CADAA. It's important to only submit one application, not both, based on your eligibility. On the screen, you'll see several types of financial aid available to FAFSA applicants, if you are eligible. First, we have federal grants like Pell Grant, FSEOG, Work Study, and Teach Grant. These grants do not need to be repaid. Next are state and institutional grants, such as the Cal Grant, State University Grant, Middle Class Scholarship, Chafee Grant, and Equal Opportunity Grant. We also have loans, which can be federal, subsidized or unsubsidized, private and alternative loans, and it's important to remember that loans must be repaid and often with interest. And finally, there are scholarships, which can come from CSUF, the CSU system, or external sources. Like grants, scholarships don't need to be repaid. One of the awards mentioned in the last slide is Federal Work Study Award. Federal Work Study is a financial aid program that lets you earn money through part-time jobs on campus. To see if you qualify, check with the Office of Financial Aid. If you're awarded, you can find jobs on the CSUF careers website at the link shown here. This is a great way to gain work experience while also earning money to support your college journey. Now for our CADA applicants. There are also several types of financial aid available to CADA applicants if you are eligible. First, there are grants. This includes Cal Grant, State University Grant, Middle Class Scholarship Chiefy Grant, and the California Dream Act Service Incentive Grant. These do not need to be repaid. Next are loans, such as the Dream Loan and alternative loans with a cosigner. These must be repaid and often with interest. And finally, there are scholarships, which can come from CSUF and CSU, as well as from external sources. Like grants, scholarships do not need to be repaid. Now that we've kind of covered the types of awards available, let's talk about how you can apply. You'll need to complete your application online by the priority deadline of March 2nd, 2026. CADA applicants can go to dream.csac.ca.gov, and FAFSA applicants can go to studentaid.gov. You can also scan the QR codes on the slide to get directly to the right application. On this slide, we have some FAFSA FAQs. The first one is, do my parents need their own studentaid.gov accounts? If you are considered a dependent student, your parents will need to create their own studentaid.gov account so they can receive your invitation to complete their part of the questions. Next question is, will I or my parents need to have the 2024 tax forms available when completing the FAFSA? The answer is maybe. If you filed taxes in 2024, the IRS will automatically provide tax data. If your parents filed taxes with Social Security numbers, the IRS will also be able to provide the tax data. But if your parents filed taxes with ITINs, they may need to manually enter the information from the 2024 federal 1040 tax returns. So this is what the home screens will look like for the different applications. On the left-hand side, you'll see the home screen for the CADA, while on the right-hand side, you'll see the home screen for the FAFSA. You'll need to create an account if you are a first-time user, or log into your existing account for both the California Dream Act and the FSA website. So this slide is specifically for our CADA applicants. When completing the CADA application, you'll see a question asking, do you have a social security number? If you answer yes, it will ask if your social security number was obtained through DACA status or with an employment authorization card that says for work purposes only. If that applies, you'll then be asked, do you meet the criteria for AB 540? Be sure to select yes. If you answer no to having a social security number, the application will also ask you if you meet AB 540 criteria. Again, you'll want to select yes. Now onto our FAFSA application screens. Before you begin filling out the FAFSA, you'll go through a total of 4 introductory pages with short videos. These first 2 videos are going to go over what the FAFSA is and what documents you'll need to complete it. These are the next 2 short videos that will be shown to you. These 2 videos will go over who the contributors are and the sections they need to fill out and what happens after you successfully submit the application. For both CADA and FAFSA, you'll start by entering student personal information and demographics. For school selection, please add CSU Fullerton School Code 001137 to both of your forms. Either CADA or FAFSA, the code is also on the screen. Let's talk a bit about dependency status for financial aid. Unmarried undergraduate students under the age of 24 are generally considered dependent, which means they must report their parents' information on the FAFSA or CADA. However, if you can answer yes to any of the questions in dependency section, you may be considered independent instead. Examples include, do you have children or other dependents? Are you active duty or military veteran? And a couple more questions that will be shown to you. Also, students are automatically considered independent the year they turn 24. So for the 2026 to 2027 school year, that means anyone born in 2002 or earlier will be considered independent. So this is something a bit new for our 26-27 FAFSA application and CADA application. If you're a dependent, you'll be asked to invite a parent as a contributor. You can just type their email address into the box and click send invite. If that doesn't work for you, there are a couple of other options. You can send your parents an invitation link, or you can give them an invitation code to use once they log into their account. Once you get to this page, you're almost done. Be sure to review all sections of your application form carefully to make sure everything is accurate. After everything looks correct, you'll review the terms and conditions and then digitally sign the forms. If a student needs a contributor like a parent or a spouse, the form isn't considered complete until both the student and contributor have filled out and signed their sections. Now, if your family's income has changed after 2024, you can request a second look to make sure your financial aid reflects your current situation. Once you receive your financial aid offer for 26-27, please schedule an appointment with a counselor to review your options. If any of the reasons on this slide apply, your case can be reviewed individually through an income appeal to ensure your aid is accurately represented. Before you go, let's review. Here's a quick Q&A to recap the key points of today's presentation. First, when is the priority deadline for both the CADAA and FAFSA applications? That's going to be March 2nd, 2026. Next, should students submit both the CADAA and FAFSA? No, you'll only submit the one that you're eligible for. And finally, what tax information will be used for the 26-27 CADAA and FAFSA? That would be your 2024 federal tax returns, Form 1040. So you'll want to keep applying every year. So here's a quick look at the financial aid process after you submit the application. It all starts when you submit your application by March 2nd. In the spring, be sure to check your student center for any items on your to-do list. If you're asked to submit documents, make sure to turn them in by the priority deadline. Once everything is finalized and reviewed, we'll award financial aid accordingly in the summer. Here are some important resources both for what we discussed today and for general reference. You can find contact information for the Financial Aid Office, the California State Aid Commission, and the California Dream Act. Some other helpful resources include CSUF scholarships, basic needs, and the Titan Hub website. Now here's how you can contact us. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., except on Wednesdays when our hours are 12:30 to 5. You can reach us by phone, in person, or through our online ticketing service. You can also scan the QR code on the screen to take you directly to our website. For the fastest and most up-to-date information, we highly recommend following our Instagram page at CSUF Titan Hub. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If any questions about financial aid or the application process come up, please do not hesitate to reach out to Titan Hub. We hope you have an amazing rest of your day.